Today's video, I want to talk about fire steels. Hey folks, my name is Brian and you're watching Survival on Purpose. Okay, well, welcome back to Survival on Purpose. Thanks for watching this video. Today's video we're going to talk about fire steels. I just received these from firesteel.com. I've been looking at different kind of fire steels. I did a little comparison video a while back and thought I would go ahead and do just more of an in-depth video, not only of the firesteel.com fire steel, but of my modification that I came up with, which I really like, and I hope you'll like it too. So firesteel.com has several different size fire steels, which is one of the things I like about them. You can pick which size you want. Supposedly they've got really high quality fire steels that produce, more sparks and all that. I don't know if that's true or not. I know they have good fire steels. So this one is the Armageddon, 3/8 by 4 inches, pretty good sized fire steel. And I went ahead and got the bunker, which is 1/2 inch by 5 inches. And you can see now, kind of giving away the secret of what I've done, is I've taken a piece of Fatwood, drilled a hole in it, and epoxied this in. I actually epoxied it so it would stay. And it's not really pretty, it's nothing fancy, but what that gives me is I've got tinder and the ability to make fire with it. You can scrape this Fatwood up and make really good tinder out of it, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let me show you how you go about doing this if you decide to do it for yourself. So we're here in the tailgate view. So this is the stuff you're going to need. A couple things you're going to need to make this. Obviously you need some Fatwood. Got Fatwood here. You need your fire steels, and this one is actually, you can buy these already drilled if you want to put a lanyard in them. I went ahead and got the drilled ones because I thought if I epoxied in, that might just help give it a little bit more, let's see if I can see that you got a hole in it right there. So it might give it a little more something to grab a hold of, kind of to create a better bond. So that's why I got the drilled ones. You need some epoxy. I've got the Gorilla brand because I like their stuff, but and it works pretty good, but pretty much any epoxy will work. You're going to need a drill to drill a hole in the end of the handle, and saw to cut your Fatwood if it's not already cut to length, some drill bits, and some way to split it out to the right size. I just use my good old hickory. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out now. I've got one I've done a little bit of scraping on here already. I want to probably have the handle about right here. I'll give myself at least maybe an inch inside, and it gives me a good 3 inches out. So that's going to mean, and I like for the handle to be about as long, probably 3 inches long. Like I said, so we're going to take, and I just do this by eye rather. Let's lay this out, and I want it to be probably about that long. Yeah, maybe. So I'm going to cut a chunk of this off, and there's no sense in you watching that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the chunk of Fatwood cut to size. And what I want to do is split out a piece of it. It's going to be roughly the right diameter. So if I'm looking at, I like to have a pretty good bit on either side. And you can see this is kind of tapered also. You can see it like that, maybe it's tapered. So you want to start with your narrower end so you don't run out of wood. So I'm going to say somewhere about right here, and that means I'm take my old hickory here and put it somewhere along the lines of about right here. And so give myself plenty to work with, plenty to work with. And got a little baton here, so just, okay, so once you get it started, he'll split pretty easily. And that's going to give us that piece of wood to start with. The next step's really up to you. You can either go ahead and take the corners off and try to round this thing off. Obviously at the end of the result, have something you can hold in your hand, and then drill the hole, or you can go ahead and drill the hole and then round it off. What I'm probably going to do, what I used to do, is go ahead and round the corners off. That kind of makes me happy. So the next step is to drill the hole. But first, I'm going to pick all this little stuff up here, because this is, after all, Fatwood, and we all know that's one of the most precious substances known to man. So got a baggie here that I've been putting all the other little scraps in from making the handles. I'm not going to waste that. It's great tinder. Just put that there. And as we shave this off, we'll do the same thing with that. But next step's drill a hole. Okay, so again, this is a 3/8 OD, outer diameter fire steel. So, but I have learned it's a good idea to go ahead and drill a smaller pilot hole first. This gives you a little control. And again, we want to go maybe about 1 inch deep. So it's going to put us somewhere about right here, and which is going to put us somewhere about right here on the drill bit. You really, you can kind of eyeball it. You're going to have about 1/4 inch of thread showing. The other thing is, you can see this is a little bit tapered. I'm going to start the drill in the smaller end. So you can do this on a drill press and get it nice and neat, but not that fanatical about it. So we're just going to go ahead and get this thing lined up and drill it down. Now, obviously, you want to be careful if you're holding this thing with your hand, because you could drill a hole in your hand, would not be good. Take your time. That's pretty good. We'll save these little shavings for a minute. So that's the pilot hole, and you can see now we can progress to a 3/8 bit. Since the 3/8 bit is not the same length as the other one, you're not going to be able to use the same gauge. So what you want to do again is go through the process again. And again, we're just eyeballing this. It's not critical. So about 1 inch, somewhere in there. And that's going to mean we want to be about right there. So we're actually going to be, in this case, maybe halfway down the threaded portion. So go ahead and get her lined up. Just let it go slow. Now the larger bit's going to take a little more control. Just want to take it really easy with your pressure. And let's see what we got here. And now I've obviously got it in backwards. Let's hope I can get it out. Okay, so that's going to be pretty good, I think. And you really don't have to push it off. So that's going to be about like that. We're going to trim this down. It gives us still a pretty good bit of wood to go. So that's the hole and checking for fit. Okay, the next step in this process is just to carve the handle down to the shape you want it. In my case, I'm just going to round it down some. Not going to make it a big deal out of it. Just going to kind of try to get all these rough edges off of it and smooth it up. And you can use pretty much any knife you want for that. It's not critical. I just happen to have this old hickory, so that's the one I'm using. So I'm going to work on this for a minute, and I'll be back to you. Okay, so we've got it pretty round. Now, still got these sharp corners on top and bottom, and the way I just get rid of those is honestly just go around and start trimming them off just like that. Just go around and probably take a couple of passes. Start back here, maybe 1/4 and 1/8 inch back from the edge, and trim that thing off. I want to take a minute here to talk about safety. I've swapped to my smaller pocket knife, and the reason being, when you're holding something this short in your hand and you got this great big blade here trying to carve with it, it's really easy to cut yourself. There's just a lot of risk there. So I just went ahead and got the smaller knife and just basically go around it like this, just kind of carving off, beveling off that little sharp point, sharp edge, just to make it more comfortable really in your hand. It's the only reason. You could leave it like it is, it'd be fine. That doesn't bother you. You can shape this thing however you want to. It's totally up to you. So it's one of the things that's cool about making your own stuff. You can do it like you want to. So let me continue this. The top pretty rounded off. You can see that's good enough for me. Do the bottom now, and we'll stick this epoxy in here and go to the next step. Okay, so I've got it rounded off to my satisfaction. It's not perfect, and I've always got the option of smoothing this thing up some more after it's made, but I want to go ahead and epoxy the fire rod into the handle. So here's the way you do that. Okay, you're going to need a tray or something to make this epoxy, and what they said to do is basically this thing comes in a little syringe, so you don't have to do any mixing or anything. You just kind of squirt it out, and both the epoxy and the hardener or activator, or whatever you call it, it's a two-part process anyway. They come out together, and then you just mix them up, and put them in the hole right here. So I'm just going to take this and squirt some of this out here. Hopefully it'll work. It's been reused once. You're supposed to be able to reuse this thing. It's got a lid for it, so you can see two pieces come out together. Get about that much out there. Try not to, and then we'll put the cap back on. Pull it back a little bit to just kind of suck it back in. Cap back on. And give you a little popsicle stick thing, and you want to mix up this epoxy, because it's a chemical reaction that occurs, and got it mixed up pretty good. And then what I've done, this is not rocket science, I just take it and dab it in the hole as much as I can, because when I push the let's go ahead and get the rest of it here. I push the fire steel down in there, it's going to squish out, or however you want to call it. And it says you got about 5 minutes now to work with this before it starts really becoming unworkable. So, and it's kind of sticky. Once you get on your hands, it's going to be tough. So, I got there. We're going to take the end with a hole in it. So I got it poked in, and just push it in till it seats. And that's it. We're going to let this sit for, it says it cures in like 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Let it sit probably overnight. But while it's cured, I do want to go ahead. I almost forgot. I want to drill a lanyard hole in it. I should have done this first, but it's not going to be a big deal. I want to drill a hole about right here for a lanyard. And I'm just going to put a piece of wood down. I'm going to hold this in place at about a ½ inch down, so we'll be clear of the rod, and just try to drill this hole straight through. So there we go. So we can carve this smaller if we need to, if we want to. It's got a lanyard hole in it. And I'll probably shrink this up a little bit, but set that aside and let it cure. And remember, never, never, ever, ever, ever waste Fatwood. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. This is the big one already made. I'm going to give you a little, show you how you would use this. So you've got your striker and your Fatwood. Take your knife or your striker, whatever you're going to use, and just scrape. I'm going to just scrape down this. You start getting up a little pile of this stuff here. Okay, so we got a little pile there. That's a pretty small pile, but we'll see how well she works. Flip her around, and gotta get the coating off of it. And there you go. So it's really that simple. It's the Fatwood fire steel. Okay, one other thing that you might want to do, actually I would think it'd be a really good idea, is to your fire steel, if you're going to plan on carrying this in a sheath, like such as, for instance, this one has a little fire steel sleeve on it, and a lot of them do, is take a piece of shock cord. Get a piece of shock cord, and that shock cord is a little elastic, as you can see. I bought this at my local REI for like 25 cents a foot, so it's really cheap. And you want to run this, just basically make a little lanyard out of the shock cord, and then I would tie the knot as close to the end as you can get it. But what you want the length of your loop, your finished loop, to be shorter than the length, your total length of the fire steel. I seared the ends of this, fused the ends of this with my little big lighter, so it doesn't fray out on you. And so you've got, at this point, it's that long. And the reason for doing that is when you put this in your sheath like so, then you can stretch this out and loop it underneath itself, and it'll lock it in place. So not rocket science, but it's just a handy little thing to do, and it keeps this thing from coming out of your sheath. So really happy with the firesteel.com fire steel. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about my modification, because you know I like me some Fatwood. Well, all right, that's how how I at least made a Fatwood fire handle for my firesteel.com fire steel. And I'll put a link below to firesteel.com. If it's firesteel.com, it's not rocket science, but it's a good opportunity to get yourself a really good fire steel and find you a piece of Fatwood and make a really good handle for it, so you have a self-contained, all-in-one fire starting kit. And hope this has been helpful.